Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Chisholm Clough, and we thank you for being a part of Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio and Esteem Yourself e-magazine. This month on Esteem Yourself e-magazine, the edition features the article entitled Shining Eyes. A brief synopsis of this article reads, Passion. What is it exactly, and how does one get it? Are you born with passion, or is it developed and nourished over time? Can you get it like the chicken pox, or does each of us have a special calling? Yes, every one of us has shining eyes. Absolutely everyone. It does not matter whether you were born with it or just learned about it yesterday. From fashion to writing, cooking to gardening, classic music to chess, the world is full of opportunities for each and every one of us, just waiting for us to grab hold. Find out how you can shine by reading this article and many other inspirational articles. Go to Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio, e-magazine, and the website is esteemyourself.com. When you get to the e-magazine, you have a chance to be able to look at this article and many other ones. Also, join us on Facebook, where we continue to enlighten, empower, and esteem you through daily posts. Our Facebook page can give you a place to share, a place to learn, and a place to blossom. It's a great way to boost your self-esteem for the day. Join us by going to facebook.com/esteemyourselfezine. In addition, join us on Twitter by going to twitter.com/esteemyourself. I must also mention Esteem Yourself Popular Monthly Gems, which includes a special monthly self-booster. Just as we feature our article on passion, we also continue that path here on the Blog Talk Radio. Today we talk about passion to impact others and to make a difference in the lives of others. Our lovely special guest is doing just that. Jana Chantel joins us to discuss her new book, which has allowed her to heal others through her words. Her mission is to uplift and inspire people that are going through any kind of adversity. Inspired by her own personal tragedies, she lends voice to her pain and hopes to help others, young adults, work through their own pain. The 24-year-old has written her first book, Into My Mind, with the goal to uplift and to inspire others. Hello, Janae, and welcome to Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are so glad you're here, and I was just looking through your book, the website on Amazon for your book. It's such a lovely book.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want you to tell us a little bit more about you and what made you decide to write this book.
Well, I'm a Detroit native, 24 years old, and I've been through quite a few things in my life. For example, witnessing my mother's death at the age of 1. I grew up in a house of domestic violence. Got shot when I was 13 years old. So it's been kind of a rough road for me. And for a long time, I've been trying to figure out an outlet to kind of tell my stories. And that's what writing came along. And I just realized that my stories and the things that I've been through can actually help others who are going through anything similar or either worse or maybe not that dramatic as me, though. But I just wanted to help people and to let them know that they can make it.
Definitely, and that's amazing. I know that you are so young to write such an amazing book like this, and it really goes into a lot of detail as far as discussing some of the things that you personally have gone through. Why did you think it was important to share some of your experiences that so others can learn from your experiences?
Some people who know me always say that for me to have gone through what I've been through, like I'm such a positive and like nice person. And I just wanted to be that example and to show people that even though sometimes we're dealt bad cards, we can always make it into a positive. It's for us to win in the end. And just being that model and that example, I felt like would help others out there to give them hope and to know that it does get better and it doesn't rain always.
Definitely. I know that in your book you talk a lot about loving people and the complex manner in which that comes about. You talk about the good and the bad and how you had to do that in your life. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think there's two scenarios in the book. One with my father, because I was the daddy's girl, but the bad side about my father was that he was also abusive too, and he changed his ways towards the end of his life. But I wanted to show people that it's more to a person and stuff. And although sometimes people do bad things, there's still some good in them. And as long as they try to correct that we shouldn't give up hope on them, and we should always believe in the good side of people.
Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I think that sometimes it's difficult for people to want to, I guess, forgive. They have a hard time forgiving. And so you talk about forgiveness as you're talking about it right now with me. Mm-hmm. And how difficult is that, or how difficult was that for you in order to move forward with your father and just learn to love?
I mean, it was kind of hard because I knew that was a way that, a woman shouldn't have been treated with, a guy abusing them or whatever. But as I said, it was the way that he kind of changed in the end, and just some of the advice and the things that he was trying to teach me before he ended up passing that I think made me really realize what type of man that he was, and that, if God could forgive, then I can forgive him too for the things that he did.
Were there other people in your life that you felt like you had the same complex relationship with? Were there people in your life? I'm assuming your mother, was she one of those people as well?
My mother, well, unfortunately, I really don't have a lot of memories of my mother. I just have that night that she died, because like I said, I was 1 year old when she passed. So, it's always just the curiosity there with her, wondering what type of woman she was. I've heard stories and stuff like that, but it's different hearing stories and really knowing that person. So I guess that is a kind of a complex relationship, trying to figure out really who my mother was.
Yes, definitely. Can you talk to our listeners about having to grow up without a mom? Like you mentioned how you were very young when she passed away. Talk about that, because sometimes our listeners, they have trials similar to that, where they're going through grief over death and things like that, or not having a mother figure or even a father figure. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It was definitely tough, and it still is tough to grow up without having your mother there with you. It's always like a type of void that's there that really no one or nothing can fill it. But you just kind of learn how to move on and to grow. And a lot of my motivation is because my mother died when she was about 20. So I really try to do things and experience things that I know she never got the chance to do, because I feel like she still lives on through me. So I want to make the most of it and be someone that I know that she can be proud of.
Definitely. And I noticed that in your book you actually compare journals between yourself and your mother. and I thought that was really powerful. Do you see her in a way as your angel or someone that is helping you to become passionate to help others? Giving you that motivation. Do you see that?
Yes, I definitely see that. I feel like there is a lot of similarities between she and I, and because I have that void for her, and because I wanted to get to know her and stuff like that, I want to try to model myself after her from the journal entries and the stories that I've heard about her. So she definitely played a big part of it.
Okay. So when you talk about the journal entries, I wanted to know, where were you getting the journal entries from her? Was it through her own personal journal, or was it?
Yes, it was her own personal.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And so you included that with your book to discuss more about her in detail?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so in growing up, I know you talked about you went through a rough time where you were even shot at one point. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you felt it was time to change, or that time when you felt I have to do something different to succeed.
It was the fact of getting shot was kind of rough to wrap my head around, especially coming up as a teenager. And at first, I kind of felt ashamed about it, which I don't know why I actually felt the shame, but I felt the shame that the fact that I've gotten shot. But it was just realizing
where was the shame coming from? Where was the shame coming from?
I don't know. I think maybe the story behind me getting shot, I think it was a shame because the people who knew what happened and knew that I got shot by my brother, like the faces they would make and stuff like that. I feel like I always had to fear my brother and let them know it was an accident, like it wasn't intentional or whatever. So, but I think once I've experienced the whole life near-death experience or whatever, I realized that life is kind of short, so I wanted to, as I said, do things that no one else, well, I never got the chance to do, and no one else got the chance to do. So I just kind of wanted to make the most of my time here on Earth and just do everything as possible that I want to do.
Perfect. So do you think that may have been a changing point for you, or what would you call your point of, clarification about who you were and what you had here on Earth to do?
I would have to say that point didn't come until about when I was about to get ready to go to college. I don't think that point came. Then, because I battled with a lot of depression after that, and I figured out that writing was kind of my gateway, and that writing was my way that I can communicate better and to express myself better. And, the stuff I couldn't verbally talk about, I could talk about through my writing. So I realized that my writing and the stories that I would tell was the gateway and the turning point for me, that I knew that this is it and I can help others through this way.
Yeah, and it's so powerful. I mean, just knowing that talent is such a great way to serve others. Isn't it amazing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, definitely. So as you're writing this book, did you know it was going to be a book, or was it being formulated in like a journal entry, or was it something you woke up and said, oh, okay, I have to write a book? How did that work?
Well, actually, I started majoring in writing my sophomore year in college. So some of the stories in there were actual like writing assignments that I had in some of my classes, and I just kept up with them. And it didn't hit me until about like my junior year of college that I realized I wanted to write a book, and I wanted to be about certain things that I've been through in my life. So that's when I really started to formulate it and to write things just for that purpose.
And as you were writing and as you knew this is what I'm going to do and this is my purpose, did you find yourself maybe coming across obstacles or things that kept prevented you from finishing the book, maybe telling some of the stories in your life, and were they difficult to write?
It was, quite a few of it was very difficult to write. I know paranoia was one of them, and a part of me I left behind, which is about my dad. Like, actually, when I was writing it and typing it, like, I was actually crying, like, tears were coming down my eyes. And it was moments where I had to, like, stop and pause for a moment. But it was, a lot of it was definitely tough to talk about because it was just, like, reopen up the wounds. But it was definitely a healing process. I feel like it became such a different person, and I feel like the load has been lifted off of me once I've written everything out.
Did you feel like writing or the process of writing these difficult, painful times, did you feel it as a healing process? Did you feel it as, talk more a little bit about that for us. Was it something that helped you heal, or was it just difficult to just reopen those wounds?
It was definitely a healing process. It was very therapeutic for me. It was just a lot of the stuff I kept bottled inside or kept to myself, and I didn't really talk about it a lot with people. And so writing this, as I say, just felt like a weight was lifted, and like I became a new person, and it helped me a lot. So I'm glad that I wrote this book. It means a lot to me.
That's amazing. Being such a young writer and having this ability to write such an amazing book, such a powerful book, I know that it took a lot of courage for you. And sometimes women, especially women that have low self-esteem, they find it difficult to even do the things they would like to do or to find love in themselves to say, I want to do this for me. And I know you talked about depression a little bit, and I want to talk about that too. But looking at what you've done with this book and how amazing it is, I want you to talk to the women out there that are going through, lonely times in their lives, or that are seeking guidance and self-love, and how to get that.
Well, seeking guidance with self-love, I think the most important thing to know is to know yourself and get a chance to really know yourself. I know some people, and I've encountered some people who haven't really loved themselves, but they're looking for others to love them. And I feel like if you don't learn how to love yourself first, you're not going to find someone to love you the way that you deserve. So really getting to know yourself and the type of person that you are, that's the first step to really, like, loving yourself. And I feel like I just experienced that not too long ago. And it's an amazing feeling once you realize your worth and you realize the type of person that you are and accepting yourself, flaws and all.
Definitely. So I know you just mentioned you just realized that a few days ago, a few months ago. Tell me about that. Was it through this book, or was it through something else that you went through that made you rethink about it?
Well, it was kind of, it's funny. Some of the Mr. Beautiful Smile character in the book that I talked about, those two pieces. I've learned that through those experiences, just how to love myself and to realize what I deserve and what I don't deserve.
Exactly. And I know even when you mentioned your father and the kind of father figure he was, I know that with younger girls, right, they tend to look for figure when they don't have one, and sometimes that does impact their self-esteem. Do you think that was part of an impact for you in self-esteem? Would you say that, or not necessarily?
Well, my dad really did still like, you're a queen, so you should be treated as such, and don't ever, fall for a guy who doesn't treat you right and things like that. So those were instilled in me. I think in my scenario, I got really caught up in the potential that the guy had, and I got lost in the potential, and that ended up leading to heartbreak. But it is what it is.
Definitely. And so when you look at role models, because I know for young women, it's important to have good role models, even those you want to, inspire to be like, someone that you feel can give you some guidance, right? Who are your role models? Tell us about that.
Role models, I would have to say my aunt, who raised me after my father died, was definitely my role model, and she's a person that I look up to and go to for advice all the time. And I feel like she's one of the definitions of a strong black woman.
Perfect. We need more strong black women such as
Yeah.
yourself. So that's amazing to hear that. Okay, so let's go back to the depression quickly. I know that sometimes, women suffer through depression based on different situations in their lives. Tell me how you were able to overcome the depression. What gave you the strength?
Well, my faith, really. I knew that, I look back at the ages of like 16 through 18, and I was just like, I always say those were my dark days. But even though I was depressed and, everything was dark to me, I knew that it was going to get better. I knew that it wasn't going to last that way always. So my faith really helped me with that. My aunt, she really helped me because I knew I could talk to her at times. But there was a point where I did seek counseling, and because I felt like I needed it, and that helped. That helped a bit too. So just having my faith in someone I could really talk to really helped with the depression and helped me overcome that.
Definitely. So it's so important for us to speak up about it.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with going to seek help at all. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Perfect. I know sometimes there's a certain look at seeking help, and particularly in, you know what I'm talking about in regards to how people feel about going, seek help. But it's so important to do that, to be healthy.
Yes.
Perfect. Amazing. So as we wrap up, I want you to tell me, what do you want women to gain from your book? I know your book is for women and men, but I want you to tell all of us, what do you want them to gain from your book?
I want them to know how to love, how to be hopeful, and to be able to inspire and encourage each other, one another. I know sometimes women, we can kind of tear each other down a lot. And I just want women to know that, it's to love themselves and to accept themselves, flaws and all. I know we can be very self-conscious with those type of things. And I know the piece, This Scar of Mine, really speaks on my self-consciousness of my scar and me end up becoming comfortable with that. So I think that's a good piece for women. But just to have hope and to encourage each other is something I really want people to learn, particularly women.
Absolutely. I've read so many wonderful comments about your book, and I thought it was amazing to see how people are reading your book, and it's changing their lives. It's bringing all type of inspirational um, um, things for them to think about and the power of it. I know one of our listeners, It Matters Radio, is actually listening today, and they said,
Mm.
I have read this book. It will break your heart, but also teach you so much. And I think your book does exactly that. It is one of those books that is very, very powerful, especially being so young. And so that's why it's amazing. You have such a talent. And I want you to talk to the young girls that are looking to find a way to overcome depression, the ones that are looking to find a way to find out what do I want to do? What is my passion in life? Talk to them about how to go about finding what's the passion they can begin to embrace for themselves.
Finding their passion, I think that it's kind of a tough question. Because I didn't realize my passion until I actually did a writing contest and won, and then I really reflect and realized that I wrote a lot, so that was kind of my passion. But I think really just getting to know yourself and to, as I said before, knowing who you are, learning who you are will help you find your passion for something and something that you really care about. And as for those who are fighting depression, I mean, just you have someone to talk to vent with. I highly recommend, as I said, faith, God. I do recommend that. But definitely talking to someone also helps too. And just knowing that it gets better. Like, trust me, I've been there and it gets so much better. Just hold on and keep pushing through.
Great, that's amazing. What's in store for you? What does your future hold for you? What are you working on now? Are you writing another book? Tell us about it.
I am. I'm writing another book. This time it will be a fictional piece, and it's still like a collection of short stories, and it's actually all about women, different types of women in different scenarios and situations that they go through and overcome. And the title for that is called Daughters of Eve, but it's still in the works. So hopefully,
wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Wow, I can't wait for that one to drop so we can start to read that one. It already sounds amazing. Okay, so before we leave, tell us how we can to get a hold of your book. Tell us if you have any contact information that will allow us to get to your book.
You can find it on Amazon.com. Just Jana Chantel, Into My Mind. You can get it off my website as well. And it'll be a signed copy off of my website, and it's JanaChantel.com, JanaChantel. And if they're in the Michigan area, I do have it at Book Deep bookstore. It's an independent bookstore, and you can always contact me by email or Facebook or Twitter, and we can talk about that too if you're really interested in getting the book.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we hope to have you back again when your next book comes out. So we'll watch out for that. And we'd like to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio. Find out more about Esteem Yourself, ezine radio and org by going to esteemyourself.com. Join us next time here on Esteem Yourself Blog Talk Radio. Until then, continue to stay empowered, enlightened, and esteem yourself.